Hello folks, now I don't know how many days we're going to be on this one, or whether it's ever going to get done. So we've got a Unden Uniace 200, it's out of that batch of sets that I bought in Lancashire. So it's my set and it's surplus to requirements, so if we get it to work it's going to be sold on eBay. 09 it was last looked at by the looks of that. Now a lot of these have got knackered capacitors, a lot of these have been modified to stop them working properly. That's all I can say. I daren't power it up without going inside it first. So go inside it we will do. Now it's one of those days where I've got 20 minutes now before I start my other work, and then I've got a bit of time in the evening. So I thought we'll make a start. Be nice to evaluate this. It's not got the best front in the world, and there's another one in this batch which has got a worse front. I think somebody does some replacement front inlays, don't they? But I can't vouch for the quality. I'm going to end up taking all the screws out, aren't I? But we'll just take those ones out for now. It's got the speaker. Square speaker, 16 ohms, not easy to replace. So if the phase lock loop chip is dead, that's it. Nothing can be done. I'm going to take the bottom off. I can't see any shenanigans actually. Perhaps it's a genuine set. It's had some work round there, which is driver transistor area. Somebody at Devon, it says on the sticker. Right, well we'll power it up, and at this point we may as well power it up off the crocodile clips. Get it connected to the test equipment. With care, 9 volts. Switch it on. It is on, it's drawing 82 milliamps. It's in PA. No meter lamp. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to put the signal generator on. I'll just make sure that's on channel 20. And we'll see if there's anything coming through. So we've got RF gain there. Bear in mind I've not got a mic plugged in at the moment, but we should see something on the meter. We don't see anything on the meter, and that's not a good sign. Now I've only got new mics, so we'll get one out. I've got the usual 4 capacitors in my hand, but I just thought, well, that one's been changed, hasn't it? Tell you what, that one's been changed as well. So that's good, but those two are going to need one changing. Really to protect the audio IC, which is very expensive. It's MB3712. So we've got a new mic. I'm going to start by plugging the extension speaker into the public address jack. Switching to public address. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 1 2. Well, I'll tell you what, that works, but what we're going to do, switch the power off. I'm going to change those two capacitors, which I'll be annoyed at if we turn out to have got a duff synthesizer. .470 at 10 volts always seems a bit tight, shall we say. That's 25 volts. Get that one in. The next one out. We'll check those in a moment. Right. One thing I'm going to do, there's 2 times 470 microfarad, 25 volts gone in, and right now that's not working. Public address is, so that's that ticked off. Switch the set back on.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
Great, so we've got public address. Back to CB, plug the speaker in. Well, synthesizer is working, it's the meter that's not. It's not transmitting though. Tell you what then, we'll start off with Synad, because at least we can get down the page. Oh well, that's good. That makes it fixable, whatever's wrong. Let's change the speaker back to one without attenuation. Picture in picture on. Have it there today. See how that works out. I keep covering up what I'm trying to show you. So we've got no TX. My error. I was on 9 volts. Now we're on 13.8 volts. The meter lamp's lighting. We still don't have transmit though. Okay, so we'll look at the Synad meter. At the moment I've got 3 microvolts on there. So at 1 microvolt it's no good at all. It's not that sensitive. Let's check the RF gains in the right place. controls are dirty, but nevertheless that's the it's waving around a bit. See if we can just spray that quickly. I think at one time it's been in a smoking environment. Sounds like that can's about out. Right. So where we are, we've got 12 dB and the radio is doing a not very good 1.85 microvolts for 12 dB. For 10 dB it's doing 1.7. And let's see whether it does 20. It does. It does it quite easily at 3. Squelch. Full squelch. Is 3 millivolts, which is too tight. And threshold is dreadful. It's 8.5 microvolts. I would think the 455 IF's out. So that's our first thing. So why is there no transmit? Just to see if I can remember the VCO setup without getting out the service manual. I think it's, yeah, it's negative earth chassis. See whether it's transmitting a few inches.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
It's transmitting a few inches. So the synthesizer's generating the frequencies. We've got wax in the coil. I will go through the VCO properly, but we've got wax in the coil. It doesn't look like it's been messed with, so that's fantastic. So I'm just going to, we've either got a dry joint or a duff component. Just check we're on high power, just in case the low power's not working. Yeah, that's what's wrong. Low power's not working. It is transmitting, but not on low power. Well, Mr. 21, that was a revelation, wasn't it? So if we spray the low power control and waggle it around, yeah, dirty preset. So back to full power. So we'll come back to the VCA. I'll get the service manual out. So that was the problem, 0 there. Let's go over to the main meter, and the main meter is full scale deflection plus. The radio is doing 3.5 watts on channel 20. On channel 40 it's doing 2.8 watts, and on channel 1 it's doing 3.8 watts. So that's not very balanced. Low power is 0, back to channel 20, and the current consumption is 1.04 amps. So hopefully we've got time to just pop through the transmitter and see whether an improvement can be gained. It's a matter of being very careful to peak absolute centre and on the centre channel of channel 20. See, that one wasn't, although it was peaked, it wasn't peaked in the centre. I think that's transmit on these sets, it is. So we are at 4 watts. And hopefully we're centralised. We need to peak this one with a tool that fits. See where we are on the other channels. Channel 40, not ideal, not ideal. See where we're on channel 40. It's where this error is. It's not there. It's not there. It could be there. So back to channel 20. Channel 40, 3.6, channel 1, 3.7. So it's pretty well balanced with the peak at channel 20. Just see if any of these coils have been disturbed. Let's go to channel 40, our worst channel. Placement of these coils is just so. Channel 40 is now 3.9, channel 1 is 3.9, and channel 20 is 4. We've cracked it. The set will not go above 4. Remember, these are commercial watts, they're not hobby watts. Hobby meter might well say this is doing 7. Sorry, I'm putting the wrong figures down now. There we go. So we've now got, on channel 20, we've got a current consumption of 1.04, 1.042, and we've gained an extra half watt, so that's brilliant. and as you can see, the balance is so much better. Well, it's spot on. So channel, low power. Should be 400 milliwatts. And I've now been able to set that up easily to 400 milliwatts. So the meter's not working on this radio. I'll have a look at it because sometimes it can be stuck and I can unstick it. Let's see if it's on frequency. It's not adjustable on these sets, and that's within. It'll come up as the signal generator comes up. 27.79075. Have a quick deviation check. Wallow, that says 1.5. We'll check that with the test set behind me later on. What I'm going to do right now is we'll just see if we can do the receiver roughly. I'll just drop the frequency to what the radio's on. There we go. And just see whether we can get that bit of an improvement, or even a lot of an improvement. So we'll start with the detector on the oscilloscope. We will, it's there. 100 microvolts on the signal generator, enough volume for a meaningful display. There's the detector, quite a bit out. Now that can affect the squelch. So just drop that. And now we'll look at the synad meter. It's better to turn the squelch down. I can just now hear it at 1 microvolt. So see whether we go through the front end. That feels on the edge of being broken. No. That's come up a bit. That's come up a lot. Let's turn the attenuator down now. That's come up a lot. Turn the attenuator down again. That's exactly right where it was. That IF1 was out. That was spot on. Let's get a new synad reading. Now these sets are never as sensitive as Cybernet sets. So there we are for 12 dB. Zero 0.65. 10 dB. 0.55. The 20 dB. It's all down to noise. 1.5. Right, let's just see if we can sort the squelch out. So squelch to full. Turn the preset till it opens. It's not going to. The squelch we've got is 250 microvolts. So there's no hard and fast rule about my 100 microvolts, but that's just how I feel it's ideal. This is doing 250, this is opening, that's fine. Let's go to the other end, sensitivity of squelch. Turn the squelch down, that's the volume, turn the squelch down. Set the threshold with the signal generator off. Signal generator back on. No, still needs some work. It's 10 microvolts, which was 8 before. It's actually worse. So we'll come back to this radio. Okay, so the next day, being able to get onto this a bit further, deal with this meter. The whole mechanism's knackered. It's not just the usual bit of bearing. The other thing I've done is to do the squelch, change some capacitors, and I'll show you that in a moment. So there's a couple of meters here that our mystery benefactor Alan has kindly sent over the last couple of years. That could be a Maxcom type one. So I'll put that to one side. I think this has come off of Fidelity 1000, and it is exactly the right kind of meter for these. So I'm just going to check it kind of fits. Yeah, so we need to get rid of this capacitor off the back. I don't like to see smashed up Fidelity 1000s, but there you go. You know, sometimes these get bought in like this. Whether we can take that capacitor off. No, we'll cut it off. What I don't want to do is to put lots of heat on and melt the innards. We'll cut that off and discard it. You know it probably works. And let's see if the polarity on this meter, the lamp goes in there on this model. See if the polarity is the same. That looks promising. So we'll turn up the signal generator and it goes the opposite way. Okay. Right, so put it on the other way. Good. We have a meter that reads something. Let's press the transmit button. Whoa, it bangs across. Right, so transfer the lamp. That should just unplug. And that's the bulb back in. Shows how many of these I don't do. So we're just about there with it. So I took the knobs off I could easily take off. And get those cleaned. Right. Let's get this alignment. Transmit. We know the radio is doing 4 watts. Bangs across. Let's get that adjusted. So RF meter is there. Centre of the red zone. And on receive, the 100 microvolts on the signal generator. And there's 100 microvolts. And we want the RF meter, which is SM, signal meter. And we want that to read hardly read it. There's S9. Check the RF gain is up. It is. You see it has quite an effect. And then I'll just show you the squelch control. Just select picture in picture. Show the attenuator. So that's 100 microvolts. We'll drop the signal. Set the squelch with the signal generator to standby. Signal generator back on. Coming in at 1.5 microvolts, leaving about 0.6. Okay. So we can add that now to our writing. So I reckon that's it. Just needs. I haven't done the VCO properly. Meter. So it was not working for 100 microvolts. Not working. Meter replaced. X Allen. So I don't have to charge for that. Makes a set cheaper when it goes on eBay. Well, what are they? 24 quid for the Midland 48 where they fail every 10 minutes? What's the point of replacing those? That's alright. The switches are alright. I haven't checked the potentiometers properly. Squelch is now it got worse, didn't it? Oh yeah, they've changed these 3 capacitors. I'm going to show you that. It's now 1.5 microvolts. And let's just check the maximum. Squelch to full. Because it's not quite where I would normally have it. See whether we can back that up a bit. No, I think it's maximum sensitivity, that. Yeah. Not kind of where I would have it at all. So it's 3 It's still 3 millivolts, exactly the same. At least it's going to be working around scratchy corner. So that's another thing sorted. Does that transmit light work? Yes, it does. Right, so to the circuit diagram, a bit, because it's blown up and it's off a scan of a photocopy. You've got the, shall we call it the FM chip, which is UPC 1028 from NEC, and then we've got the, we have the audio IC down there, and I noticed we've got an electrolytic capacitor. Oh, let's go to this one, a little bit clearer. 22 microfarads there, and we've got, I just can't see it on this. I think there's a 4.7 and there's a 4.7 I think there. That could well be the squelch switching transistor, and there's another 22 microfarads all in this area. So I swap the three, and that's how we've got the squelch performing more what we'd expect. Throw those away. Onto the floor. I'll clear it up in 3 years. What I didn't do, if they're still around, I didn't test them. Well, you know what? I can see 2 of them. My friend Mark, his wife, does some craft work. She likes encapsulating electronic components in resin. So these get saved for Mark's wife. We're having an avalanche. Why are we still having an avalanche of the Amstrad parts? There's no logic as to why that's happening. Right. Back to the capacitors. .5, and it's supposed to be what? It's supposed to be 10, so that's alright. You know what, I don't think that even came off this set. It's not the right colour. Seven microfarads. That's supposed to be 4.7. Now, when they go high, it is indicative of imminent failure. So that isn't good. Anyway, that's the 2 I could find. Right. So it's all aligned. It's doing full 4 watts. We did the deviation on the other test set and brought that to the correct level. Let's do a final frequency check. I'll put picture-in-picture back on, and we'll switch over to the frequency counter on the test set. All the gear's been on 8 hours. The radio hasn't, but all the gear's been on 8 hours. 27,79105. 27,79105. So it was 075 when the gear was cold. It comes up to 105. It's not adjustable, and that's well within. Shall we check this VCO? Well, without, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to get the instructions out because the set's working on all 40 channels and it's never been fiddled with. So it's not really something which needs to be done. But just to make sure it isn't going somewhere silly, we'll just check it. On channel 1 we've got nearly 1 volt, got 1.4, and on channel 40 sure that's the VCO test point. Look at a previous video if you need instructions on that, but it's not needed to be checked properly. Right, I'm happy that's really working well. I'll put the soldering iron on because we're going to need to put the speaker back on. So my fears about it being fiddled with didn't come into fruition, luckily. Well, that's the top one. And that's the bottom one. Just get some fresh solder on that. Hope the speaker's okay. That would be difficult. So the 4 Uniden sets in that batch, 2 of these larger ones and 2 of the smaller ones. They're all the same performance. Bigger just buys you more pointless features. Mind you, back in those days, bigger just bought you more pointless features. These days, bigger often buys you inferior working. More silly menus and the squelch in a sub-menu. So, there you are. That's why older sets... You know, I see current models going on eBay. Current models for 15 quid, you know, as an untested item. And then, you know, you're seeing older sets going for a lot more than that. I've seen untested sets go for £95, which are 40 years old, and they're still going to need service work. So there we go, one that didn't have a duff chip. I've not got a power lead here, it'll go out with a brand new one. We'll just pop it on the crocodile clips for the final test. Just put that on the aerial. That would be very sensible. We'll see if there's anybody out there. 7:45 in the evening. They should be drunkenly swearing by now.
Fingers to yourself.
19 a Roger. Well, squelch is working from 35 miles away. Right, well I can't listen to that, it's awful, and not the set, the people on there. Thanks for watching. Uniden 200 from the Lancashire batch.